Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Historic Area Commission special meeting. It is Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. We could start by having each member state their name.
Cynthia Batty.
Barry Hayward.
Lisa Doak.
Layla Hammer. And Jeff Bergstrom, building official, is also present. I reviewed the minutes and didn't see anything that needed correction. I didn't see anything either.
Yep, that's fine to me.
The motion to approve the
Move to
minutes
approve the minutes as provided.
from the October 9th meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Right. First item on the agenda is 23 West Sixth Street, Larry Coma. Is that how you pronounce it?
Coma, but it is
Coma? Okay, just want to make sure I'm pronouncing it
no problem.
correctly. For solar panel installation. Would you like to tell us a little bit about this project?
Sure. First, thank you for the special meeting. Time is of the essence. With the incentives running out at the end of the year, we need to get it all done and expected to avoid $11,000 hit. Also, thanks to Layla for coming out and personally giving us the site inspection and feedback and comments on ways to improve it. I'm not sure that our property today adds a lot of value to the historic area, but it is something that we're working on. We've got like a 1970s carport and siding that we want to replace. This is going to be key to getting us there because this will allow us to stabilize our electric as we continue to age in place and make it a lot more easy for the financing. The plans that you have, we've been working with Alex and CMI based on the feedback from Layla to how do we make these things invisible to everybody. I know it's a challenge that you guys have to go through that, we do have cable wires and power and gas lines going into these properties now. How do we make them invisible? That was pretty good. Alex came up with one last one, if it's okay for me to pass these out. All of those would be accurate. This just shows what we want to move to is a flat panel design. So now 6th Street, you cannot see anything. And from the cemetery on Delaware and 5th Street, basically it would be an 1.5 inch thick edge, which is black, which matches the roof. So to the naked eye, it's going to be almost impossible to see the things from any of the streets. We did add one more panel, but again, going flat, it still made it less visible. Yeah, I think those are the key things.
Yeah, originally when we went out with, I'm sorry,
Layla.
she was worried about seeing the top portion of the array. At that point, the design was built so that way the solar panels weren't parallel with the roof. They were tilted up for better efficiency. So you would see maybe a couple inches from one particular spot on the road. So this design, the new design, is lowering the panel so that way you're not going to see anything from the road. Hopefully that fixes the problem. That was her main issue at the time. Also, I don't know if you reviewed everything else, but this was already brought up to her attention. There is going to be electrical equipment that has to be mounted on the side of the house next to the meter. This is required by the utility company. It's for safety purposes and has to be done legally by the utility company and by state law. So there is one piece that will be sticking out next to his meter. It's a disconnect. That's the only thing you're going to see.
And you said the size was just about, we talked about the size roughly.
Yeah, I have pictures of it. I'm sure you guys have seen meter cans that are installed on the side of a house before. This is a safety disconnect sitting next to a meter, so it's smaller than a meter box, but it is required. So that way, if a fireman has to come up and be on the roof, he shuts the electricity off by the safety switch. So just so you're aware of it.
That's gonna be-
Around or.
Yeah, come back around the other direction. I know you- That'll be next to the,
And what are the regulations for that? Like, can it be hidden behind something or does it have to be in plain sight for the fire department?
It has to be next to the meter. That's the first place where they're going to go, because that's where they pull power. So therefore, being next to the meter is a safety thing. I can paint the conduit, the color of the brick, but I cannot paint the actual enclosure itself.
right. Yeah, and that's how we bid, we can just take the conduit to have a match the brick.
It's gonna be directly next to a meter, so the meter's already on the side of the house, so it's gonna look exactly like another piece of electrical.
When you look at all the other stuff they stick on the sides of our houses anyway, for cable, telephone, all that stuff. In fact, I would venture to guess that half the buildings in the historic district have old things stuck on the side for copper wire that phone companies should be made to take them off. Because they're not doing anything, they're just ugly, big pieces of crap. But the only way to get them off is for each individual homeowner to call and order them to do it. And also all the extra lines, by the way. One day we should do a project on that, guys, to inform people that they can make them take them off. So this is little compared to some of that garbage.
Yeah. Now, it'll be smaller than a meter pan.
And also similar to them, we don't have an exterior mounted battery on this one, right? It's-
Now,
so-
we're putting everything in his basement.
Did the change of the angle change the efficiency of the system?
Yes.
Did adding the extra panel overcome a loss?
That was the idea, because having them tilted at 10 degrees gives them more consumption during the day due to the angle of the roof, or the angle of the panel with the sun,
Yeah.
sorry. But we were able to slide it over, and his offset is about the same, if not better, right?
Yeah.
Than what it was before. So,
Okay.
And then with them laying flat, you avoid shading the other one, so Alex could put them closer together and
yes.
slide them all away from the edge.
Oh,
So
good.
now there's nothing really close to the edge with the last layout.
All right, so that's what this thing shows.
That's what that thing shows.
Yeah, I have other pictures that'll show the angle of what it would look like. Do they have that picture?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so the whole point was to look at the viewpoint when you're looking at it from the street. And, you know, when you have the slope, when you look at the primary second addition on the back.
Yeah.
It was raised, you could see it, then the idea was raised, pushing it back, so it becomes further with the sight lines aren't there. So now with them flush and flatter, because they're about what, 4 inches?
Yeah, a rail normally sits about 3 or 4 inches off the actual roof itself. You have to because of heating purposes.
Yeah.
You can't keep those panels super close during the summertime because they'll overheat. So you have to have a little bit of a gap in between there for airflow to get underneath, and then they're still efficient.
And even if one were to see it like from the side, it'll just be like simply like one line that's back there, and I don't even think we're really gonna be able to see it.
Yeah,
I think the one counterpart, and this was a question, which is, I'm glad that you put the pictures, for some of the pictures I put in the initial report that I had sent way back when, is that, you know, because of the fact there's a cemetery, and, you know, if you go all the way to the other street, you're pretty far, and at that point, there's like, what's the reasonable expectation? And when you're looking from the other side, I mean, the pictures here show that you really have to, but also if they're dark and they're sloped, then they're definitely gonna blend in with the roofing, which will be the acceptable compromise based on the way, since they were considered as an option in the design guidelines, so. it's the idea.
Yeah, the Delaware Street public right of way, so if you're on the sidewalk outside the cemetery, is actually the most visible part of the property.
Yeah.
Versus being actually on Sixth Street, but as long as they're flat, I didn't see any trouble with that at all.
Yeah, they would just show up as sort
Yeah.
of flag service, and the way they were before, you could, if you're walking on Sixth Street, because you had this thing, and you know, the
Right.
mock-up, which came over, that was like the carrying over mock-up that went from one room, but that's very helpful, by the way, I wanna say it was really great working with everybody, just trying to figure things out and mocking things up, because, you know, the theory and a few pictures. So that was very helpful, yeah, that's the intent.
This, I think this all looks looks good.
Yeah, I think the only one was that tail end one, right? Because now that you added. Oh, that one's moved down too. Oh, good. Okay, so they've all moved down, which is actually better.
Yeah, and we slid it over more, so that way it was further away from the edge.
Yeah, and then that way went down to 2, and then the only one that pops up a little bit is probably because that vent that was there or something, that interim one that sort of pops out on the first row. Yeah, I mean, so from a perspective of review, the design was changed to make the panels less intrusive further back. They are a flat profile, they don't protrude too much. I believe you said that they can either have a skirt on the exterior ones, like flat skirt if one wanted to. I don't know.
Yes, I can look into purchasing something with them, but because the panel itself and the rails are so low profile and flush with the roof, like I said, the airflow is important. The only time we normally put guards around these are if there's problems with squirrels. Sometimes the squirrels will nest underneath the array itself and chew the wires.
Mhm.
So that's when we block off the area. But if we don't see that happening in his area, we won't put the skirts on. Everything is gonna be colored black. His roof is TPO black, right? If I
Yep.
remember.
Yep.
So the panels are black and then so is the racking. So it's the
It's
same
all right.
exact color as the roof. So you're not, unless you're really looking at it, you're not gonna see anything. So I don't see a need to put a guard around it unless you guys want me to, but I mean, that's totally up to you.
I mean, so far, everything is blending in. I mean, and particularly since you have a bit of an irregular with the two ones that are sliding up. And I mean, and I think typically we've tried to put like a guard just around the array as opposed to around each one. Which I don't even know if that's an option or not in some cases, because just as a streamline. So I don't think that'll make a huge difference, particularly if it's pushed back and not visible.
There is a potential for a conduit being on the side of the house or going, I haven't really, his house is a very old house, so getting down to the basement where I have to, unfortunately, these panels aren't wireless, so there has to be one thing of conduit going to the array itself. I can color that conduit, same thing on the side of the brick, I can match it to the house. So that
And
way
does
you
the
want to do-
does the conduit have to go, oh, you mean just to get it back to the box?
Yeah, so there's an inverter that's being mounted in his basement.
Mhm.
So from that inverter to the panels itself, there has to be wire run to that. So in order, sometimes you can't go through somebody's house, sometimes you have to go off the exterior and then go into the basement through drilling through, the side of the house.
So bricks.
That directional path straight down through someone's house will do a lot of damage. So therefore, I just want you guys to be aware, there is gonna be one stick of conduit going down. It might be on the side of the house. I'm gonna do my best to try
I mean,
not to.
If it has to be on the side of the house, can we tuck it as close to the corner and the intersection? Sort of as close.
Yes,
So
yeah,
that
and if he
way,
has a downspout or a gutter that goes down the side of his house, I would tuck it in with
Yeah.
that to make it.
just,
more
tuck it
comfortable.
adjacent, and if not, just tuck it at the corner between the street elevation and the back elevation where I think he does have something. So that way, at least it's fairly discreet.
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep it discreet. I just wanted you guys to know, so. Well, other than that, it's pretty much the visibility of things was the number one goal to get rid of, so I will. Think with our new design, we will achieve that.
I think both of these projects have been useful as blueprints for when other people may want to do these kinds of projects. You really have helped, I think, being in the vanguard of making it possible for people who, even after the subsidies, it may make sense for some of these homes to get solar. Sadly, our home wasn't, there's too many trees over it. The guy came out and laughed at us. There's no way.
Well, thank you for submitting this, very nice and complete application and for going through the process of the revision. We certainly appreciate it. Are there any questions? Leila, do you have any?
No, this is the third solar panel application we had. The last one was, I think, like 6 or 8 years ago. So, I mean, this was clearly the intent of the guidelines to be able to accommodate, you know, alternate sources and but there is a way to street, so those systems, right?
Great. Then with that, if we're all comfortable, going forward with the motion.
Sure.
So,
I'll put forth a motion to approve the application for solar panels at 23 West Sixth Street
As submitted,
as submitted.
second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Congratulations.
Thanks again for the time, guys. I really appreciate it. Yep. Permit, building permit.
Next step is a permit.
Chrissy said she submitted that to someone.
Did you pay for it already?
She said she submitted for it today. I did not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did not have the permit with me.
No,
I
that's
emailed that to one of you.
That's just a
I was
workout.
trying to find it, but.
Yeah.
Perception's bad.
Jeff is trying to keep it schedule.
I want you to start
Oh,
working.
okay.
I want you to start working
me too.
tomorrow so he can.
Yeah. Well, the problem is with the tariffs now is getting the actual material itself, so. So, I didn't wanna order the materials until it was approved, so I will get on that.
Nothing but fun.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you, thank you for having us.
All right.
Oh,
Next on the agenda, we have 201 Delaware Street, the old town hall, which is trustees of the Newcastle Common, replacing an HVAC system. Would you like to give us something on this later?
Yeah, they were replacing they had submitted this earlier and, there were just details missing, so they want to put in new units. And, for currently there are units that are on the back. And they're to the side, this is coming here because it's the key building, so obviously this has to be reviewed. And, so the question is, can they replace the ones that they have, but they also want to put same units, equipment on the other side? So
So are they looking to,
they're looking to duplicate the fence from one side to the next. Because I think they want to distribute it in an easier way to both historic.
Or build up the space they've got now. It's just a tiny little area.
Will some of that get distributed to the other side? Or, because this side's really cramped. I never noticed it. honestly.
Me either. I
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
know.
Right,
Until-
but you
until
need a
now.
little bit of airspace too.
In
So
between.
Yeah,
they're
of
already-
course.
They can't do what, they can't get any more air conditioning in the building with the systems they use. And these are the least intrusive as far as the architecture of the building.
Yeah.
So.
So they're replacing one on one side and they're putting a new one on the other side. So the question there becomes, they do have a fence, they're gonna do the same fence, which is already there. And then a question that just begs, to be discussed is, if you're putting a unit like that, does one want a fence that matches, a fence that's smaller in terms of dimensions?
Footprint.
If we think they'd be even using that, the footprint of anything that's in there for future, there is not that level of detail in this application, but we figured since we had the special meeting, we should add it and have a conversation about it. And we can give direction to what is approved.
Could they make it higher so you can't look over the fence? Because, I mean, honestly, it's doing a good job of masking, because I never noticed it until I did my walk
We're
for
out
this
there Couple
application.
times a year.
But as soon as,
Yeah.
you know it's there and you peek over the fence, and I'm short, I peek over the fence, it's just recycle bins and, what we're all trying to hide in our backyard, so I appreciate, but if it would be possible to make it taller so that a normally height person couldn't look over it.
You're a privacy
But that's
fence?
less of the
Yeah, I think-
building you see.
My only
Yeah, and it
concern.
becomes more invasive.
Yeah, with doing one side higher is that then, just because it's a classical building and
Yeah.
there's like the
Needs to be
symmetry,
symmetrical.
then,
Yeah.
I mean, if they were doing both sides, that would be one
Well, if
thing.
I would only recommend putting a taller one if you're putting a taller one on the other side. But at the same time, I think this is very much like this is a building that the front of it is pretty much all sides. So I think that if you have a taller one, it's true, you don't see as much, but if you're there, you know, and you're looking in front, when you're sitting in front, I think it's better to have a shot, because yes, once you're aware of it, you go and you look in. But if you have a privacy fence, that becomes kind of very intrusive. While here, at least you walk by, you kind of ignore it, and all you see
Don't
is the
even see it,
conduits that are
yeah.
popping out.
Yeah.
So I think that would be more discreet. Now, if we think we want to balance and understand they may need more space and just have the footprint of the fence be the same as the other one, because if not,
Yeah, and then that would give them a little more room
And
to
the building
deal
is
with
so
their,
symmetric now.
yeah.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
think that would just make it make more sense.
I think so, and then it would give them options to put, you know, their recycling bins
Right,
and things
on the
back
other
there, so
side,
it's
yeah,
not so easier access, yeah. I think balancing that would be nice.
Yeah, I think
So, yeah,
that
so
would be the plan.
So that would be the recommendation, was to approve the new fence, but not just to match the materials, but to match the footprint and the design of the one.
So it's
To mimic it,
symmetrical.
yes,
Yeah.
to be symmetrical. With the gate, in terms of gate and I think they should be okay with the tree that's right adjacent.
Is it, where they're proposing to put it, it's not paved either there,
No, it's in the mulch, it's right behind the tree.
yeah.
So the question might be, you know, are they gonna fence around the tree? You have, as you see it, so.
Well, they'll have to solve that one way or the
Yeah.
other. I mean, the tree, the lower branch could be cut off and it would still work.
Yeah, I think just if you come to the edge, you're getting into the bushes. The other fence kind of goes to the edge of the brick. But I mean, it can fit around, the tree can definitely be within the enclosure, which actually probably conceal things, make it more discreet, whatever's in there.
I guess I never noticed that the trees were off center, they're not symmetrical.
Well, damn it, why aren't the trees perfectly
Yeah.
symmetrical?
Well, I mean, in terms of planting location, this one is here and then this one's over here, which isn't relevant to what we're doing, you know,
Yeah.
what we're discussing, I just.
And if they've been, it is also possible there used to be another tree on the other side when they.
Yeah, I think
They
that probably
probably
was.
removed it, yeah.
Um,
So that would be the recommendation.
So how do we do that?
well, I have to ask, are there any comments?
I'll keep it nice and short, cause I know Jeff
I mean,
Comments pertaining to this application?
okay,
Okay,
Phil Gross, 1301 13th Street. My feeling is after a couple hundred years, I feel that there should be no added anything back there as far as replacement. Yeah, as long as it fits a footprint, replace, you know, whatever's broken with something similar size. They're becoming much more efficient than when those were placed there. So they should beef up what they're hoping to achieve by output, but as far as adding, that's the wrong area to be adding anything that's not conforming with that type of machinery of the time. And yes, it is true, if you put a higher fence, it's gonna be that much more eye-catching. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't think anything should be added if they want to replace what's there. Or power tone, because you can't go back and say it shouldn't have been there in the first place. And one teeny question, how does one, since we have to stick with agenda items, how does one ask questions about Delaware Street and all the mess of businesses with stuff out
so
front?
this commission we don't handle enforcement, we have no power to do that. That's the city, that's code enforcement, so if you have a complaint, you need to fill out a code complaint form available on the city website, or you can call the city office. And they can.
I got that, but you guys have to first set the rules and if there's any updates to it, because if they're doing what they're doing, but it doesn't really fall under the rules of the city.
Well, the Historic Area Commission is part of the city, so it's the same, the design guidelines and standards are codified, so if you have a complaint, contact the city. That's the best thing you can do, because we can't do anything.
Then it could be requested to be put on the agenda or something of that nature, or signed or discussed.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's the question, so I can request a review.
I'm assuming, I would say reach out to the city because we're getting to the territory of having conversation that's not about the application that's in front of us, but yes. if-
Because
I would say
that's
reach
the
out to
question,
city
what
how
would
that
be
might
the right path, and you're right on that part, enforcement, if it specifically says it. But if it looks like a trash heap and nowhere in the city guidelines does it say, doesn't look appropriate for the city, then I gotta put in something requesting a review of you guys to look at the situation and say, oh, you know what, we never noticed it before, yes, but we just never got around to.
Phil, almost all of those businesses have significant violations. Just write a letter
Again,
and
but
say
we
your
should-
concern.
Yeah.
Just a caution, we're taking comments on the application.
Yeah.
So I would say communicate with the city, express the concerns, and then there'll be the appropriate forum to bring it on
Yeah.
our attention and
Yeah,
agenda item. and
I'll
have
just
conversation.
do exactly that. There's several violations, could pack review them.
Amen.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Jeff, I'll see you in the morning, buddy. Coffee.
So I do think that, if there's a new fence added, if they want to screen that, if, as we discussed, I think it should remain the same in terms of material, the footprint of the design with, I think, the location of the gate, similar hardware or the same hardware. I think that symmetry would be best, so.
Yeah.
Are there any more questions, concerns? Okay. We have a motion,
I'll make a motion to recommend to the trust that they produce a fence screen with the same design, footprint and hardware.
I would couch it that this is approved under the condition that the fencing installed in the absence of documents
Okay,
has the same footprint, materials, height and
Okay.
design than the existing.
okay, what she said. I move.
so then,
It's not a recommendation.
44 last night, getting pretty chilly in there.
Yeah, so I would couch it that way.
Okay, that's fine.
so should this then go to you for just final approval as a tier one?
I mean, it could, or I mean, if they're gonna do it that
You
way,
could
it's an
just, you
enforcement.
could approve it subject to those conditions.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
Great.
No,
And if it doesn't meet those conditions,
I think they can do that.
So then, a motion to approve this application, in terms of.
I would
What do we
say-
start
yeah, I
over?
would
Thank
say-
you. I confused
Yeah, I
myself.
would say approve the installation of the new unit at the location indicated. In the absence of detail, that's the layout of the fence. The fence approved by the historic commission in this meeting should be a fence that matches and is symmetrical to the footprint of the existing fence. And matches it in materials and design and gate location.
Yeah.
That way we're covering all the
got that, Kathy?
components.
Thank you.
That's my motion, by the way.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Thank you. And with that, there is nothing left on the agenda, so, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn, but I want to just have a chat quickly before we leave the room. Motion to adjourn?
All in
Sorry.
favor? Or, sorry, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved.
I've given a lot of thought to how we could help.
So are we, if we
Yeah.
are adjourned as a commission, we cannot have a conversation.
I can
hold speak.
Okay, let me just say then